Hey, this is Midwest Gamer coming with you with a discussion on the Nintendo Switch and why it might fail. It might fail because it's been out for, I guess, like 2 years now. And the reasons why it might fail is because of lack of games. There's been just somewhat poorly made games, and uh, it's not really a gaming device. It's just a casual gaming device, and it's due to um, just poorly made, cheaply made games, and the only game that people play on there is either Zelda or Mario Kart and a few other titles, but you can't have a console of some type like the Switch is and only have a handful of games that people play throughout the year because people get bored. And it's a known fact that people get bored when there's nothing to do, and especially during the summer. And that and the build quality of the Switch is cheap, even though it costs between either $300 or $500. The build quality is cheap. It's cheaper than what the Wii U controller was, and it's funny that they built a machine that is really just basically Nintendo's version of a cheap tablet, and the sound is horrible, and it has stereo sound, but that of a mid-range phone, and it's not really anything crowd-pleasing. It's just mediocre, and lack of an actual dedicated controller. There, on the golden age of gaming, people used to care about actual consoles and making a console last for a good generation. And Nintendo doesn't care about that anymore. They just care about profit and what that system will do for profit. And so that's why I'm like, yeah, this system's gonna fail and it's not gonna do anything, just like the Wii U. And I'm like, I saw this coming before the Switch came out. It was basically an expensive toy that people would play with and get bored easily because there's nothing to do but play Mario Kart and Zelda. And by now we should have a library of games, and there is a library, but it's very small. Unlike the DS, where there is a good lineup of games, and it's just, I think it's funny how there's so many more games on the DS than there is on the Switch in 2018. And um that's why more people buy the DS than the Switch, because it's just the Switch was for to make profit on what the Wii U didn't make profit on. That was a filler, and it's just sad. It's sad to see Nintendo is going for profit and not caring about games, and you could have seen that in the Wii U. At the end of the Wii U, they had really bad games, and now it's it's sad to still see that carry on into the Switch, and I'm like, by now it's a year and a half, maybe 2 years in to the Switch, and we should see a good library of games. And we're just seeing a little bit of games here and there. And some of them look okay, some of them look meh, the others look good. And it's really confusing how Nintendo does their lineup. And it's it's odd to me. That's all it is. It's odd to me. And because Nintendo used to put out a system, and we would see in Nintendo magazines and other magazines lineups of games, lineups, and yeah, some would be good, some would be meh, but then there was those that were like, at the time, we didn't know that they would be good until many years later, because we were like, oh yeah, we played this once, it's not good at all, but now they're somewhat cult classics, and now they're doing that same thing, and it's it's I know where they're coming from, because again they're trying to make a profit, but there's really no games on the Switch, and it's basically just a port device. It's like, yeah, hey, you want to play that game that you played 10 years ago on an older system in somewhat newer HD? You can now. And yeah, that's fun, but we don't want to play that same game when we already might have that game on another system. And it's it's just sad to see the way Nintendo's going, because I'm just like, I thought with the Switch that they would try to rise up and rise up from the ashes like a phoenix, and be like, oh yeah, hey, we're gonna do good again, and we're gonna make this an actual console, some kind of console, and actually bring you decent quality games that people would talk about and be like, oh yeah, hey, you see that one cool game on the Switch? Yeah, I would like to play it. Yeah, me too. And people would borrow each other's games and play them, and we're not seeing any of that. We're seeing Mario Kart, Zelda, a random port, and that's basically it. Nothing really there to play. And it's that's why, to me, it's gonna be like, I think the Switch is gonna have its downfall, because lack of library of games and an actual dedicated controller. And you would think by now that there would be some kind of support for a GameCube controller, or a Pro controller of some type that's actually better than what there is, and there's not. It's just, here's somewhat of a Pro controller, and you get what you get. And it's Nintendo needs to take a step back as a company and realize that they need to come up with a solution of how they go by with console making, and see where they can move on and make the Switch better as a console. So there'll be some, reason to buy it, instead of it just being a Zelda machine or a Mario Kart machine or a port machine. And this is Midwest Gamer out.